Hello, everyone. This is Rosie, and thank you for tuning in to this episode of my podcast called My Intrusive Thoughts. Alright, first things first, I would like to say congratulations to batch of 2017 for finally graduating. Oh my god, I am so happy for all of us. We did it. We did it. All those long nights of cramming, crying, just stressing, barely eating, and not having a social life, it has all come to fruition. And we're finally doctors, so I am so happy and so excited for all of us. And I hope and pray that this journey ahead is going to be more, easier, smoother, and fruitful, and that we can all become the doctors that we've always aspired to be and serve humanity and just be kind and live, laugh, love. Best of luck to all of you guys, and best of luck to me too for the clinical rotations, internships, whatever we're all going to be doing in the next few months, wherever life takes us. I hope that it's somewhere good. So, basically, I did a poll on Twitter some days ago asking my followers to suggest, what I should talk about in my next episode on this podcast, because I was like so confused. I have a couple things that I want to talk about, but I was not sure what order to go in first. So I asked my, followers, and they were like, we want you to talk about, how to study better, like tips and tricks that you can tell us. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to be talking about things, tricks, tips that I learned over the years during med school that really worked for me and might work for you as well in terms of studying and concentrating and just having a healthy sort of study and life balance, I would say. So yeah, let's get down to it. Alright, I'm gonna try my best to not make this into like a preachy sort of rant where I just talk about, oh, this is gonna work for you, do this, do that. Like, I know all the answers to every question, but I'm gonna try and give you my experiences, things that worked for me, and I know that not everything is applicable or comfortable for everybody. So at the end of the day, it's really, a hit and trial sort of thing. So some of these tips and tricks would work for you and some might not. So I guess you just have to try to find what works best for you at the end of the day. And if you are somebody who's starting med school or is in med school, or even like you're just attending university or school, I think if you apply these little habits these tricks, tips, whatever you want to call them, in your daily life, I am pretty sure that it's going to make life easier for you. And I'm not going to pretend that it didn't take me literal 6 years to find a niche for myself and to find what worked for me. There were some times where I was so lost, I did not know what I was doing. And there were more times when I did not have my wits about me. And it was a lot of crying, a lot of stressing. But, when you realize and when you figure out what you need exactly, it makes life a little more easier to kind of maneuver, I feel like. And with studies especially, one thing that I know about myself is that I'm the kind of person who stresses about stress. So, more than stressing about studying, I was stressed because I was not stressing enough about studies. Do you get what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, but that was me throughout. And I still have this thing where if I'm not studying, like for the past month or two, I think since I gave my graduation exam, I've been taking a break and I haven't touched a single book, curriculum book. So my like sixth sense, like my brain keeps making me feel guilty for neglecting my books. And it has happened so much over the years that now I understand that, it's not right. I should not give in to this thing and not burn myself out, because that's exactly what I did when I started out in my first year of med school. I burned myself out like in the first 3 months, and then I kind of started hating the life I was living, and I started resenting having chosen medicine. And I mean, I'm trying to be as honest as I can over here, and I am the last person who would ever say that, I resent choosing this field or whatever, because I love this field of work. I love medicine. I love the fact that I can help people. I can make somebody's pain go away, or at least try to. So for me to be in that sort of mindset was really upsetting. And like I said, I was more upset that I had thought of that in the first place, because wow. But then I realized that, it was more so because of the way I was going about things, especially my studies, that affected me so much. And I, with time, realized that I need to calm down, okay? And try and take things one thing at a time instead of just like bulldozing right into it, because that's what I was doing, right? um for some reason, like, when I started med school, I was so excited. I guess it was the, energy, the pent up sort of like adrenaline from finally realizing that, oh, I'm doing this. I am going to be living my dream one day, and I am one step closer to becoming a doctor. So I was like going at it. Like, oh my God, I was in the library from dawn to like midnight. I was studying for 12 to 14 hours a day, and I was not paying attention to my surroundings, my friends. I did not really make any friends when I got to China, uh, because of one, am still an introvert, and it's very hard to initiate conversations or try to reach out to people. And two, I just felt like I did not have the time. I'm like, I was there to study, and that's all I was gonna do. And it worked for a while, but then I remember this so vividly, so vividly, that one day we were in like a Chinese culture class, and the Laoshi, which is teacher, she asked us to like talk about our own cultures and like, talk about things from home and stuff. And I remember this one Nigerian girl, she got up and she started singing the national anthem or something. I can't really remember, but all the Nigerian students stood up and they were like harmonizing and everything. It was so cool, by the way. But at the same time, that was the moment when I realized that, oh my God, I'm not in my country. I'm not with my family. I'm not with my friends. This is a strange land, and people are speaking a strange language that I don't know. And people from all different cultures and, backgrounds are here that I have no idea about. And I felt like a loner, like I did not fit in. And plus also because we did not have very many Pakistani students, so like usually we would talk in Urdu, right? But then I had nobody to talk to in Urdu, and that, I can't express how important it is to be able to speak in your own language, because that's when I realized, when I had nobody to talk to with in Urdu, that I missed being home. I missed the ease of communicating and everything. And I just had a breakdown. Like, I literally had a mental breakdown then. And I remember that, bless her heart, my roommate, she later became one of my best friends, one of my best friends. She reached out. Like, I remember I got back to my dormitory and I just laid down in bed and I cried. And she was like in her bed and she could hear me sobbing, like literally sobbing. And so she came over and she's like, what happened? So I just ranted to her and she just hugged me and I just cried my heart out. And then I felt better, obviously, afterwards. But still, that really stood out, that one moment. And after that, I tried to kind of like, take my time, absorb my surroundings, trying to, find some sort of comfort within people around me, or try to explore and try to find that energy, that spark back that I had in the beginning. So, in that regards, I think my first takeaway for students, regardless of what you're studying, where you're studying, is that it's okay to be excited, it's okay to dream, it's okay to plan, but do not expect for things to happen overnight. I know it's very hard when you're very passionate, when you're like very excited about something. You just want things to happen, like, naturally and quickly, but that's not how it works, especially with studying. I think the one thing that I have learned in the last 6 years of gruesome studying schedules and exams and labs and rotations and whatnot is that it's okay to challenge yourself, and it's actually necessary to challenge yourself and step out of your comfort zone. But at the same time, it is also very important to know your limits and to understand that, you know, to gauge how much you can take on before it gets overbearing. And that I'm saying because it helps you sort of pace yourself. So I think the most important thing when you're studying, especially if you're in a medical, setting, situation, school, what am I saying? Is to pace yourself. I know that subjects can be very, very extensive, and there's a lot to cram, a lot to learn, a lot to understand. And with other subjects, with other majors as well. But I think if you pace yourself, if you set goals for yourself, like, this helped me with my anxiety as well. Like, I started doing this one little thing, exercise, if you want to call it, for managing my anxiety. But it also helped me with my studies. So, like, the first thing that I do when I wake up is, in my head, I plan out my day. And I'm not saying, planning what color of shirt I'm gonna wear, and what time I'm gonna have my food, or how many rotis I want, or whatever. It's like, like goals, like overall how I want my day to go, like, tasks that I want to be done, but not like, oh, at 3:15 I have to be done with this, like I have to be, not like that, but just like, giving myself a vague idea of what I want to be accomplished in the day, if that makes sense. So, like, for example, today I woke up and I was like, oh, I have to record a podcast episode, and I have to go for like my driving license test, and I have to like fold my laundry. And I did not restrict myself into like a time limit, but I knew that 24 hours, I gotta get all of this done in 24 hours, and give myself the sort of leeway, so the leniency to be able to work through each thing without putting too much pressure on myself, because I am this kind of person, where if I have something on my to-do list, I cannot for the life of me fall asleep unless and until I'm done with it. So I try to give myself like, doable goals. So that's the word I was looking for. Set yourself doable goals and plan them for a day, and plan enough that it's not going to overwhelm you. This was a huge tip that my dad gave me. He's a doctor himself, and he has amazing, what do you call it, memory. He remembers stuff from like fifth grade, third grade, kindergarten, and I don't even remember what I had for lunch yesterday. I'm that kind of person. So I struggled with cramming stuff in school, like, you know, um, y'all, some people in school have the audacity to have the whole periodic table on their fingertips, and I'm just like, what? Like, I don't know past bromine, carbon, and what else? Fluorine, chlorine. That's all I remember. Like iodine, I don't know shit. Like, and that's not even in the order. Okay, so, but then there were people like that, and I always like struggled with that cramming part of studying. So I would, like, I remember I would rant to my dad, Like, he was the person I would go to for ranting. Like, he's the person that I have all these academic talks with. So I would just call him up and be like, Dad, I cannot study. And bless his heart, the amount of rants this man has had to endure in the past 6 years, because like every time I was having a mental breakdown, I would just call him and be like, Dad, I can't do this anymore. And he'd just be like, calm down, honey. Calm down, my daughter. If you got the hint, I love you. Burahe. Anyways, so that happened a lot, right? So he would always tell me this one thing, and he'd be like, if you're stressed, your brain is not in the state of absorbing more information. And it works, like, it's actually true scientifically as well. When you look at development, and I'm gonna be a little nerdy with you right now, but like, it is said that when a child is having a tantrum or a meltdown, that is not the right time to teach them things. Sometimes we do that a lot, when a child is like, full blown tantrum going on, and then you're like, no, you're trying to discipline them. That's not how it works, because in that moment their brain is so stressed that it cannot take in any new information. So you wait for the kid to calm down, and then you teach them, in a calm moment. You tell them what is, right, and what should be done and what should not be done, right? So that works for adults as well, I guess, you could say. So when you're stressed, there's like, your brain is already tired, right? And obviously stressing also takes up energy, so you're wasting so much of that stressing. And then on top of that, you're trying to add on more stress and take on more energy by trying to shove more information, new information into it. That's pretty, that's, I think, downright abusive to your poor brain. So when you're stressed, I don't think that's the best time to be studying. And I'm not saying that, oh, okay, if you're stressed 24/7, just stop studying at all. I'm saying that if you feel like you cannot for the life if you study, then don't. You just need a break. In that moment, listen to your body, listen to your brain, and take a goddamn break. If you're winded, if you're feeling like, oh my god, the world's ending, I don't know what the fuck is going on, in that moment, I think the best thing to do is just quit whatever you're doing. Do some breathing exercises, because those help. Definitely, trust me, they do. Do some breathing exercises. You can find them on YouTube, and relax. Do something else that is going to calm you down. So, like, when I was in school, and I had a lot of those moments. Okay, I think I've cried about studying a lot as well, but like never had like, you know meltdowns, thankfully. But still, because of the anxiety, I had crippling anxiety at one point where I couldn't even get out of bed. And I also am the kind of person who, if I'm like, giving my all for like a week straight, I need like a 1 month break to kind of wind down from all that, exertion. So if I'm like working for a month straight, I need like 3 month vacation to get over that exertion. And so I figured that I had all these inconsistent breaks in between, and I worked so hard to try and kind of even that out with like 1 week of vigorous working, then 1 week of rest. Like, because that worked for me. It's not perfect yet. I still have like those days where if I'm going all out one day, I need like a week to recuperate. But anyways, that's one more thing, right? You need to figure out a pattern for yourself that works. And I figured that when I was like very stressed, I would need to, take that moment and understand that my body needs rest. This is not the time to be overworking myself. This is a time for me to give myself that break so that my body can recuperate and be able to actually function, because I needed a functioning body to be able to study and live and basically be a freaking student 24/7. So I would watch movies, I would binge K dramas, and I would sing songs because that's what I like doing, music. And I would listen to songs. BTS has, and I'm sorry, I have to mention this here because since now I've graduated, I had a whole speech prepared where I was gonna go all Snoop Dogg on everybody, but then I was like, you know what, whatever. But then I still want to thank BTS for literally carrying me on their backs these past 6 years, because wow, I would not have been able to get through all of that without those little mini breaks, music breaks that I did. So for me, what worked was that I would study for like half an hour. I would set a timer, study for half an hour, and then I would take like a 15-minute break, because that was what comforted me and what calmed me down. I would have my headphones in, and I would blast BTS music at full volume, and then just sit there and just, feel the music and just enjoy, that time, not thinking about work or stressing about the studies that I was doing or still had to do, or whatever. In that moment, I would just dissociate completely and just think of the music in my ears and Danny's, because Sarangye Bangtan. So that really helped me. That actually helped me be more efficient, because it's not about how long you study. It's about how efficiently you study and how much you can retain, right? Because I know that, everybody has a different pace, everybody has a different learning speed and everything, and whatever works for you. All I'm trying to get at is that try to take breaks, try to calm yourself down, try to make yourself comfortable, because if you're not comfortable, your brain is stressing way more than it should, and it's not healthy, and also it's not productive for you. It's not efficient learning, in my opinion. So that's one more thing, right? That for efficient learning, I did this like breaks thingy, and that really worked for me. I'm not saying that, because I know some people, if they tried it, they would be like, studying for 15 minutes and then taking a break for 3 hours, because yes, I did that at some points as well when I was like too anxious and I just needed those longer breaks, if those work for you. But if they are going to hinder your progress, then I think you gotta cut down on those breaks, but still take breaks. That's the bottom line of it. Take breaks and do something that relaxes you in the meantime. Because, like, when you think of medical students, a lot of times there is this, stereotype that they have no social lives. They're boring people. They just, study, study, study all the time. Well, if I look back at my 6 years of education, I did everything. I was studying, I was going out exploring, I was binging K dramas, I was, hanging out with my friends, I was learning music, I was playing the piano, and, I was doing everything that I liked doing. And that was possible because I had found a balance between the studies and my hobbies, the fair few that I had, and also my social life. And I know that it sounds very idealistic, and it's not always possible for everybody, because like I said before, everybody has a different learning speed, and sometimes you might need more time on your studies. But that doesn't mean that you have to cut out on your other aspects of life altogether. Don't do that to yourself, because that's ultimately not going to work, and it's just going to make you feel resentful and have negative feelings, and we don't want that in this house, right? We want you to be comfortable, happy, and efficient, and also have a healthy mental health, right? That is very important. Very, very, very important. So, what I did was that, some days I would skip out on the studying and would hang out with my friends, do something I liked. Usually, I reserved these for the weekends, especially Sunday. Sunday was my day where I was just relaxing. Nobody could talk to me about like school stuff. Like, you were not allowed to say the S word, right? And I would just like stuff my books away. And for one day, I am not a medical student. I'm just Rosie living my life. And everybody needs that. Everybody needs to be able to connect with themselves, do something that is helpful. I feel like for the past like 10 minutes, I've just been saying, take breaks, do something else other than studying. But I'm just trying to stress on you, emphasize, the fact that it's important to have a healthy mindset, to be mentally healthy, for you to be, able to learn efficiently. And I know that it's a very bizarre concept for millennials and people, from the previous generations, because I grew up hearing that, oh my god, we had to walk to our schools and we would sit on like these straw mats and study in open air, and you guys have no idea how stressful that was. And I'm like, how is that helpful? Like, how is that productive if it's that stressful? But I understand that, that those were the norms of those times, and mental health was not even part of the equation at that point. But now we know how much it affects your capabilities, your learning abilities, your, just your regular general life. And so it's important to take that into account, and that's what I'm trying to get at right now. The fact that you need to have a healthy mindset, and then I promise you that studying would feel so much more fun and easier. I think one more thing that worked for me in my favor personally was the fact that I loved reading anyways. And so studying like curricular books was not really something that felt vigorous or, tiring or like a punishment. But I know that there are people who hate reading from books. But then nowadays we have so many other medias and, you know sources that can help us study. So if you're not the books kind of person, I feel like you should look for something else that might help you. For example, for different subjects, I had different sort of like sources that I would use to study, and this is strictly for medical, students. But um, for others, you can also apply the same thing in whatever form it works. For example, like for anatomy, I watched a lot of dissection videos, and it might sound gross. I would like literally be eating and sleeping, and there would just be constantly a dissecting video playing right by my side. And I did that for like 3 months straight. I remember, like, anatomy, that's how I got my anatomy down. But like for surgery, I watched videos of like different surgical procedures, and I watched dramas, because I know that dramas are not accurate depictions or whatever, but um, it was a really nice way to ease yourself into a setting where you're not actually looking like physically present, but still, like, you could gauge how a normal setting in a surgical theater would look like. And then I progressed slowly to watching actual medical procedures, like accurate procedures, and stuff like that. And then studying for like preventive medicine or other subjects, I've found podcasts for some of them. And then Instagram videos are great source for like quick learning. I recommend, for whatever major you are in, you might find like these accounts where they give you like bite-sized informations that you can uh, digest and remember. And that really helps me. Like, that's how I learned my labs basically. I still remember, like, when we started internal medicine, and we had to learn all these like values. I'd just be like, oh my god, how am I supposed to learn this? But then, like, I followed all these Instagram pages, and they all had like these different reels and videos on like bite-sized sort of portions of different topics. And that made life very much easier for me. So do that. Try to consume content that is, study specific for you, for your major, and that helps you sort of enjoy learning, instead of just like feeling like, oh my god, I'm in a classroom, or I'm like sitting on a desk and I have to get this in my head. Like, try to make it more casual and fun, if that works for you. If it doesn't, don't do it, because I know that there are people who cannot study when if they're not in a particular setting. Like, I had this thing where I could not study when I was at home, even though I had my own apartment. I was paying freaking, tons of money for that apartment, and I had my own like room and space and everything. But I could not, for the life of me, study in my room because there was like my bed right there, and like I would just have to turn around and my bed would like just call to me like a siren, and next thing I know I'd be deep asleep. So I preferred to study in the library where I had people around me who were, also studying and breaking their backs, quite literally, over their books, bent over their books. But like on the other hand, my housemate, she had she had the complete opposite style from me. She would be in her bed, with music blasting in her ears and reading, and she would like be all chill. It would like if you walked into her room when she's like studying, you would not believe, cuz like she'd just be there casually chilling, and then staring at the book or like her iPad or whatever she'd be reading on, and you just think that maybe she's just like watching a movie or something. But then she had such a it was so productive for her because she remembered everything. She was one of the very good students in class as well, so um that worked for her, and she chose to do that. One more thing, okay, and I know that this is going to sound controversial, but sleep. I cannot stress enough on how important sleep is, especially for somebody who has to use their brain a lot. Please, please, please. All these all nighters you're pulling and you think you're doing yourself a service, it's not really helping you. I'm sorry to break your bubble, but it's not only stressing your brain, it's stressing your body, and there are higher chances of you getting ill because of that, getting sick because of sleep deprivation, because your those cortisol levels, that stress hormone is firing off right now the more you're awake and forcing yourself to stay awake, and that's going to suppress your immune system, and that's not a good thing. You might be susceptible to more sickness. And if you're the kind of person who complains about being sick all the time, but is also always on caffeine, like drinking 7 cups of coffee every day and not getting enough sleep, honey, I think you need to work on that. It's time you reevaluate your life. And yeah, so I was saying, basically, that's my best friend, by the way. That's her. She's like always complaining about being sick. And then I'm like, so what did you have for lunch today? And she'd be like, oh, I had like a coffee in the morning, and then like another cup of coffee in the evening, and then like another one right after that because I was like not done having enough coffee. And I'd be like, how many hours did you sleep? And then she'd be like, oh, I did not sleep at all. Like, I couldn't fall asleep. And I just got right back up and went to work. And I'd be like, girl, okay, go home, get some sleep. And I know it's gonna be funny if she hears this because she's gonna be like, you're the last person to be talking about sleeping because I have insomnia and very bad at that, like a very bad case at that. So I know the struggle. It's far easier said than done. I know, I understand. I go through it literally every day. Even now it's like 8:28 a.m. and I haven't slept yet. But that's also because I'm on vacation and I can be up if I want to. I don't have to be anywhere else. I might just sleep during the day or something. But that's unhealthy, by the way. But anyways, I was trying not to be preachy. Look at me. I just can't help myself. Anyways, so yeah, sleep important. Very, very important. Even if you're taking naps, those power naps are gonna work for a while, but you need deep sleep. You need proper sleep. So please, please, please try and get that sleep. I kid you not, you're gonna see a difference in a very short time if you just fix your sleeping schedule. If you're sleeping at least 6 to 8 hours a day, you know, and that's stretching it. Because, like, for somebody like me, I can sleep 6 hours at most. And after that, if my sleeping time exceeds that, I get very fatigued. But for different people, it's different, right? So, depending on what amount of sleep you require to function and be fresh properly, do that, please. Try and fix your sleeping schedule and your sleeping habits because they're going to be tremendously helpful in keeping you fresh, keeping you energized through the day, and also giving you the motivation to study better. Because if you're going to have enough sleep and then you're gonna wake up feeling energized. You're gonna have like a good mood through the day, and good mood means your brain is gonna be less stressed, and you're gonna have more space to cram knowledge in there. Okay, this another one, especially for the young medical students who are just starting out. And I had to go through like a lot of hidden trials to understand this. But you know that medicine is a vast field, and you have to study so many things. Um, so many things, so many different aspects of medicine, so many different fields, and obviously that can be very, very daunting. But if there's one thing that I've learned, and it is a tip that my seniors gave me, thanks to them, um, is that do not try to overread. Because I understand the temptation. You know, when you see a book, it's not important to read through every line. And hear me out. I know it sounds ridiculous. Some of you would be like, what? Like, what? Aren't we supposed to like read everything? Like, you know what? No, you don't actually have to do that. What you need to learn is, you know, things that are high yield, things that matter at the end of the day. Because a lot of times with books, for example, like I studied very huge books for physiology and anatomy and pharmacology, and then surgery. Like I still have those huge ass books that weigh more than I do. And I realized that at the end of the day, I was not getting anything in my head because I was just reading so extensively, and half of the things that I was studying, I did not even need to know, right? Like, the history of stuff. Like, I understand for like pleasure, yes, of course, go ahead. But when you're in a setting where you have to follow a curriculum and you should know basic things, and I guess the temptation is there to try and learn more about it. But if you're not the kind of person who can juggle all of that, try to stick to what you need to know and work with that. So, trying to, the saying that jack of all trades and master of none, don't be that. Because it happened to me, right? I tried. And then I realized that that was not working because I would know about things, but in a very general sense. And the things that I really needed to know for sure, I wasn't able to retain them because there was a lot of excessive information in my head that I didn't even need, right? So try to find whatever course you're doing, try to find like areas of concentration and try to understand what is important and what is it that you really need to focus on, and then study that and take your time studying that, no matter how long it takes. 2 days, 3 days, a week, 2 weeks. Give your all to things that actually matter. And the rest of things, you can go through them, yes, read everything, but try to focus on things that are actually important, exam wise and just in general, that you would need to know to be a doctor, obviously. I'm sorry, I'm trying to like include everybody, like students in general, but because I am a medical student, I feel like, I just had to give these tips to other medical students who are starting out or are still in medical school, so maybe it can help them. Also, one more thing. Wow, it just popped in my head and I have to say it now. Snacking. I know the temptation. Are you a stress eater, first of all? Because I am. I if I get stressed, I want my mouth to be always filled up with sweet things. I hope that did not sound bad or weird. I'm sorry if it did. It sounded better in my head. I mean to say that I crave sweet things a lot when I'm stressed. So I always have to have like a chocolate, maybe ice cream, or something sweet, like always. And not just sweet, sweet, like diabetic sweet things. Um, Rasgullas, gulab jamuns, all sorts of like donuts and cakes and anything and everything that is just like ultra sweet. And that one, it is not good for your health, obviously. Two, it makes you energized. It gives you that sugar rush, But when you fall from that, honey, oh my god, that's the worst. When you have like that sugar rush and then a steep slope, that shit hurts, okay? And you crash. That crash is bad. So avoid that. Try to avoid that. Instead, like in school, I started like taking fruits with me. So when I would get the craving, I would like have maybe an apple or like an or tangerines, like those mandarin tangerines. Like what are they called? Like mandarins, I think that's what they're called. The Chinese mandarins. That reminds me of Yoongi. I love those. They are so delicious. Oh my god, I'm craving them now. God, I need those in my life. Anyways, and then like those dried fruits, I don't know what they're called. But those dried fruits, they had them like these really cool packets, and I would always get the dried mangoes and strawberries, and I remember peaches, and I would just nibble on them, and then chewing gums. Even though that hurt my brain, like chewing all the time would like literally cause me jaw pain, but it was actually helpful in concentrating. I've heard that if you condition yourself enough, it helps you. So I tried that. Did not really work on me, but I heard that like if you condition your brain into eating something or smelling something while you're studying, and if you have the same things in exam hall, they can like trigger those memories. But I don't know. Maybe I don't know, but that didn't really work for me. I don't know if it's legit or not, but I tried and it didn't work for me. Anyways, so I just lost my train of thought, by the way. What was I saying? Yeah, I was talking about eating. So keep like a healthy sort of snacking habit instead of like stuff that I did, because that was not healthy at all. And I struggled with acne throughout my time in China because I was not eating healthy. My skin was just dying because God, that diet was so messed up when I think about it now. Also, I feel like having a comfortable place to study in is also important. So wherever you're studying, like in China, in like my school, all these Chinese students would carry all the stuff with them to the library every day, like these pillows and these like cushions and these hand rests and these like fans, mini fans when it got too hot, and all their snacks, and then like a stand for their laptop, and then like a charger, portable charger for their phones and everything that they would need. And they were so meticulous about it. And then there would just be me with my backpack, BTS backpack filled to the brim with books and nothing else, and like just a couple snacks, and I just like be sitting there. So later I realized that I need to kind of like be more passionate with this aspect of studying as well. So I went and bought like nice stationery and some stickers for my books, and like colorful pens and highlighters, and that really helped motivate me to work, by the way, because I was always so excited to use all my new highlighters and pens. That sounds so ridiculous, I don't know, but it really helped. It's just like trying to find different things that excite you, that make this process easier and exciting and not feel like a punishment. And if this is what works for you, then go ahead, do it. No one's gonna judge you, and if they do, fuck them. One thing that did not work for me at all, an epic fail, if you must, was group studies. To this day, I cannot for the life of me concentrate in group studies. Maybe because my friends, we were all like, we could not sit still for a single minute and talk business. Like one of us would just have to start saying some random shit, and then we'd all just kind of derail from there, and then it would just be chaos. And we tried. I tell you, like I kid you not, we tried so many times to organize like these group study sessions where we would like sit down and study. And for some reason, like I always became the unspoken sort of leader and tutor, and I would tutor others, my other friends. And it was like, for me, it was nice because I got to revise while I was trying to teach other people. Because I feel like I learn better when I'm trying to explain things to other people, because then I'm like putting in the double effort to make it easier and more, like understandable in that process. I also learn. But for some reason, I just could not do it with my friends because we would just like, we couldn't concentrate ever. And so we would only get together during exam time, because in that time we knew that we needed to really focus, and that was the only time that we ever had group studies. And even then it was just basically everybody sitting down in one place and studying by themselves, and we would just like ask questions to each other if we wanted, or like quiz each other, or like give each other moral support or something. Otherwise, it never worked. But if it works for you, you should definitely find somebody to study with. Study partners can really be helpful, motivate you to study, keep you in check if you're like, lazing around, or, slacking or something. And keep you on your toes if you need them to. So, all of that, if that works for you, go ahead, find yourself one. There are always, like, I think, communities on different platforms that cater to that sort of stuff. And yeah, at the end of the day, I think the biggest takeaway from this podcast episode should be that I understand that studying is not everybody's forte, and not everybody likes studying. Some people are doing it because they have to, some people are doing it because they love to, and whatever the case it is for you, I feel like if you're doing it, you should try and make it fun for yourself. And I hope and pray that it's not something that makes you feel like you're being punished, because I know a lot of people who would literally swap bodies, like sell their souls to the devil just so that they don't have to study anymore, but they have to anyways, because that's just it, they're bound to this situation. So in that case, it's very important that you find things that comfort you and motivate you, especially to do better, and to be more present, and be more mindful, and be able to concentrate better. And it could be anything, and don't let anybody judge you for that. Like, I know somebody who listens to like church music, like those religious songs, to concentrate, and I know somebody who likes to listen to translations and recitations of the Quran, the Holy Quran. And I know people like myself who binge watch K dramas and movies and listen to BTS music, to motivate myself, and to like kind of pace myself and take breaks and just calm myself down, and be able to concentrate better. So try and make it fun. And I hope that you find ways to make it fun for yourself, because personally, I love studying, because, and I feel like I'm so blessed that I have the privilege of this, because I come from a country where there are more illiterate kids out there than there should be. And I know, and I have seen kids who would die to be in my place. And I'm not saying that, um, I just have to like look at it like that or whatever, but it is one aspect, it is one reality, that there are kids out there who do not have this privilege. And if I have it right now, I think I should check it, I should understand it and make the most of it, so that I can maybe, change their lives in some way. And so, like my dad says, that it's a sadqa jariya, which means that it's charity, right? I am, with my knowledge, helping others. And I think that is the aptitude that I would like to keep, that, me gaining knowledge is ultimately going to help somebody, save somebody's life. So for me, that is important. And that's why I do it. That's why I'm learning. But to each their own, I guess. And I just hope that life treats you easy. And I know that it's a very idealistic situation where you would think that, oh my god, you're gonna wake up in the morning, and set yourself a to-do list, and then you're gonna get everything done in the day, and then you're gonna have enough time to study and eat and sleep, and have a social life and enjoy other hobbies. It's not possible, obviously, but as long as you try, I guess it is not something that is not possible at all. So please keep trying, and I hope that you succeed in whatever you're doing and that studying becomes fun for you. I hope that this was helpful, and I hope that you can take away something. If you have anything else that you would like to add, please comment and let me know. And I would also like to give a shout out to everybody who voted on that poll. Thank you so much. I hope this was helpful in some way. And to my podcast fam who listens to me every week, um, I love you guys. Thank you so much for staying with this and making this what it is right now. I am working very hard to try and bring you more interesting topics, and I would love it if you would keep listening and supporting this podcast. So, I guess with that, I'm going to end this episode here, and I hope that next week I have more exciting stuff to bring to you. Also, I just got the BTS book, Beyond the Story, and I promise there is going to be an episode on that. I did say that on Twitter as well, but I just want to, put it out here as well so people know that is coming. And there might be another book review, maybe. I don't know why I'm talking about this right now, but I just wanted to give like a heads up for stuff that I have planned. I read this book, I finished this book, and oh my god, I have so much to say about it. But I'm like, my throat is still kind of not well, and I've been trying so hard to not drink cold drinks, but it's like so hot that I just can't take normal water tastes like poison right now. So I just have to drink cold water, which is not good for my throat at all, but I can't help it. So instead I've just been taking Dushanda and stuff to try and fight this sort of like sore throat situation. Hopefully it's gonna get better by next week, and I would start sounding uh, not so gruff and like I am a dying whale. So yeah, I guess now it's time to end this episode finally again. I'll see you guys next Friday. Allah Hafiz.